Hi guys, and welcome to today's video tutorial. Today we're going to be going over some music video effects I used in a video that I edited a week ago. So let's begin. So there are a couple of things I want to say before this video begins. First of all, I want to say that the music that I got for that music video came from NCS, or no copyright sounds, and the video footage that I used was from VideoBlocks.com. We'll talk a bit about that later though. Another thing is that today's video tutorial will be rated 3 stars out of 5 on the difficulty scale. You need to know the basics of Hitfilm to understand what we're going through, and you need to have a bit of creativity to change up these effects the way you want. So with all of that being said, let's get into the video. The first thing I wanted to talk about was the black and white grey that I used in the video. You'll notice that for the first portion of the video, almost all shots are in black and white. Now that brings me to another point. You probably should go and watch the actual music video before you watch this tutorial, because that way you'll get a better feel for the effects that I'm trying to show you guys. I'll leave a link in the description, probably put an annotation or a card up right now, and link you to that video. But let's get back to the grade. This black and white effect was very simple. I should just say that I didn't originally intend it to be black and white. This is what I originally intended it to be. But these 3 effects are what I added to give it the grade. Now I'm just going to delete them because there's a really easy way to add these effects. Just go down to your effects panel in the presets, go to film looks, and it's just black and white old stock. This adds the 3 effects and I didn't even mess with them. That's how easy it is. So the next thing is I just thought I'd mention the hue colorize effect. The hue colorize effect was used to change clips like this from the normal color to red. All you have to do is drag it on, select the color you want, as well as the hue strength, which I set up to 100 to make it pure red, and also the saturation. Alright, so the next one is a bit more complicated. It's the one I use at this point in the video, so let me just play that effect right for you now.
Go on, just do what you do.
So this effect is pretty much just a freeze frame with a bit of a flash. The way I achieved this is, well, I'll go through it now. All I did was I cut the video using the slice tool right here. I just cut the video where I wanted the freeze frame to start, where I wanted the flash to begin. And then using the normal tool, I just held Alt on a PC or Option on my Mac and just dragged it up into the second video layer. And that duplicates it. Now that we've got this duplicate, all that I'm going to do is I'm just going to go into here. I'm just going to zoom into the timeline so we can see frame by frame what's happening. And all that I did was I just cut it using the slice tool right here. I went back into the normal tool, deleted this clip, and now we've just got 1 frame of the video. I'm just now going to go back out, grab the rate stretch tool, and rather than just extending the in and out points, the rate stretch tool actually stretches the video out. So it squeezes it out and creates it like it's in slow motion. We'll see that here, because of some kind of frame rate issues, if you notice the image here, and then the image later in the actual video, it changes by 1 frame. So all I'm going to do is I'm just going to cut it again to make sure we only have that 1 frame. And I'm just going to stretch it back out again. And now that you've got this, it becomes pretty simple from here. All I did was I keyframed the opacity of this to fall down over time. Just go into the transform section, hit the circle next to opacity, and then go forward a couple of frames, just play it until you want it to end, and then just drag it all the way down to 0. And the freeze frame will start off like this, and then it'll slowly fade away. And then once you've done that, the next step is pretty simple. All you have to do to create the flash is just duplicate this layer, the second one, and then on this one you're just going to set the clip properties. In the blend you're going to make it screen. So that's a pretty cool effect. Before we go and look into the other effects, we're just going to take a little bit of time to thank our sponsor for this video, VideoBlocks. As I mentioned before, all of the footage that I used to make this video came from VideoBlocks. Now this was very useful for me because I didn't have to go and actually shoot anything. All I did was I just grabbed my footage off VideoBlocks. VideoBlocks has one of the fastest growing, largest stock video libraries, and it has over 3 million videos, as well as After Effects templates and motion backgrounds. Also, VideoBlocks is the only contributor marketplace that gives 100% of the commission back to the artists. Additionally, all of these clips come with a royalty-free agreement, so you can't get hit with copyright claims. This means that you can use them on all kinds of projects you want. You don't have to pay for extra licenses. We are giving away 7 days of VideoBlocks so you can try it out and get access to a massive video library and royalty-free license for free. The link to get these 7 days free will be in the description below, so make sure you go and check out VideoBlocks. So now that I've talked about VideoBlocks and the footage that I've used, let's go ahead and look at some of the other effects. The next one is pretty similar. I'll go ahead and play the effect for you now. It's very similar because there's kind of a flash and then it plays a kind of separate video. The only real difference between this effect and the previous one is that in this effect, the actual video that you're duplicating has got color to it, and also the video that I duplicated is slowed down half speed rather than just having a freeze frame. So what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to delete all of this and I'm just going to start from scratch. All I did was I cut the video where I wanted the flash to start, where I wanted the effect to start. The same as before, I alt-clicked and dragged to duplicate the video. Then all I did was I added the hue colorize effect to make it red. We've talked about this before. Now you can also use the same techniques that I did before to add the flash, but we're just going to show you an alternative way to do that now. In the media panel, I'm just going to hit New, Plane, and I'm just going to make sure that it's a white plane by clicking on the white button right here. I'm just going to hit OK. I'm just going to drag this right above our video right here. And then in the transform, I'm just going to keyframe the opacity. I want it to start not at 100%, but I want it to be pretty opaque. Then, a couple of frames in, I'm just going to drag it all the way down. That way we get this flash of white from this plane. Now there's also some things we need to do to this bottom clip. First of all, we're just going to right click on it and hit speed/duration. Set it to be 50%, or you can mess around with this later. I'm just going to hit the slice tool right here and then slice it where I want it to end, and then I'm just going to delete the latter clip. Now I'm going to keyframe the opacity. So just about the end of the flash, I'm just going to set the opacity of this to be 50%. I'm just going to activate keyframing at this point. Then at the very end where I want the clip to end, I'm just going to set the opacity to be 0, so it kind of fades out. And there you have that second kind of flash effect. Now we're going to take a look at some shake effects that I used. If you remember this shot right here from the music video, you'll notice that the camera is moving. The actual video that came from VideoBlocks was just one that was shot on a tripod. So I just added a shake effect to get it moving again. Then I also added it to this video. Now this video I also had a couple of other effects going. I cut it in 4 different places so I could have 4 different kinds of the clip, and then in each one of them I scaled them in to zoom them in, and I also adjusted their position so that they kept zooming in on the 2 of them having the argument. I also had a hue colorize effect with a higher saturation each time. This created the illusion of the argument kind of heating up. Now this effect is one I'm not super proud of because I was just a bit lazy and I added an auto light flares effect. If you want to do this properly, you can add a proper light flares effect and adjust its position properly, but I just added an auto light flares, which is just an effect you can get, and I adjusted the threshold so that it only appeared just in these white bits right here. Almost done now. Here we've just got this shot, which instead of using a hue colorize effect for, I just decided to change it up a little bit. I used the color gradient effect, and that way it's more red at the top and kind of less red at the bottom. Also, I duplicated this layer. The one on the top is the one with the color gradient, the one on the bottom doesn't have the color gradient effect, and I've just keyframed the opacity so that it gets more and more opaque, showing more and more red in the image. And then the final effect that I've done is just the flashing here, which is pretty easy to do. And then finally, I've just done flashing here, which is a little bit harder. So I've just got this video of a fire, flames, just some coals in a fireplace I think, and then we've also got this comp right here, which is of 2 mouths going in for the kiss. And all I've done is, in this composite shot right here, in the transform I've keyframed the opacity so that it blinks on and off. We're just going to do this all again, just going to turn off keyframing right here, and I'm just going to now set a keyframe for it to be 100%, 2 frames in, or 1 frame if you want, but I chose to do 2 frames. I'm just going to set it to be 0. And now you'll see that in the in-between frame, it's 50%. We don't want that. We want it to blink on and off. Blink on and off. So to do that, we're just going to select those keyframes and set them to be constant. Then I'm just going to go Command C on a Mac or Control C on a PC. 2 frames in, just hit Command V again. And then I'm just going to copy these and paste them. And I just kept doing this until the end. And then the last one, you can see that it actually ends up on 0. Just going to delete that keyframe so that it ends up on 100%. And that's pretty much the effect. Now I also added a heavy grade, lifting up the blacks to be more greys. That way you couldn't really see what it was until it actually kind of stopped like that. And then we have the ending, which is just a bunch of quick editing with this boxer. And as well as that, I just used a simple shake effect, quite strong one, but I just used a normal shake effect to get all of this shaky movement into this shot. And there you have it, guys. Thanks for watching the video. If you liked any of these effects and if this video was helpful to you, then please consider liking this video and also consider subscribing to my channel for other content just like this. Make sure to share this video with your friends if they might find it helpful, and of course I will see you in the next video. Stay shiny. Bye.